Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Apple Afro and I am here to give you guys an update, okay? If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on that little bell notification so you will get all of the updates on when I post videos. And actually, I would love for us to start conversation, so please put your comments down below and let's get this conversation started. John Ridley is directing Guerrilla. There's a lot of controversy surrounding who he chose to be the protagonist in what should have been, by a lot of people's standards, a black woman. So he chose to cast an Asian woman. By American standards, she's Indian. She casted an Asian woman to be the protagonist and to be the person to be the forefront of the movement in the story. So a lot of people are, not okay with this because the women that were on the forefront of this movement were black women. John Ridley is also the director of 12 Years a Slave with the beautiful actress Lupita. But let's get started in saying that Lupita was portrayed as a very downtrodden, abused, and misused slave, and she did not have a very good ending in the story. Which leads me into the protagonist of the series Guerrilla. Okay, so the protagonist in this story is going to be, her name is Frida, and she's going to be portrayed as someone that forefronted the Black Power movement in Britain. Okay, let me repeat myself. She's going to be at the forefront of the movement, of the Black Power movements, okay? Which is very historically incorrect due to the fact that a lot of black British women were at the forefront of the movement, and that's why people are very, very upset. I'm not upset, I'm a little frustrated with the lack of media coverage that black women get in fictional stories and in non-fictional stories. Black women are not portrayed well enough in the media, and the European standard of beauty is always being pushed in people's face. I love black women, I love black men, I love white women, I have nothing against them, but when it comes to, black women being portrayed in a negative light, I'm not for it. Okay, so there was actually a Q&A about his decisions on casting, a non-black female in the protagonist role. And his, excuse was, oh, I did that because I'm married to a non-black woman. Okay, that is not a reason for you to rewrite history, sir. That is not a reason for you to, once again, push black women in the back, of history, in the back of people's minds, because that's what it basically states. So Frida, the actress that will be playing the protagonist in the series Guerrilla, actually stated that from her speaking to John Ridley, she had, I don't know why she can't speak for herself or think for herself, but she got the idea that black was a political thing rather than a racial thing, because she said it's like basically an experience. Okay, yeah, it is definitely experience, and I would say that darker skinned Indians have the same experience as black people, because there's a lot of just discrimination and racism towards darker skin in the world. So the thing about that is, I need you to think for yourself, Frida, and I need you to understand that just because John says it's okay doesn't make it okay. I mean, it's his decision, it's his show. He has a lot of creative freedom, that of what I've heard, but it's historically incorrect for the person that she's portraying, okay? This is a problem because black women of a certain skin tone or in general are not, portrayed in the media in a very positive light. There is a black woman that is actually in the story, but her light is very negative. She is a snitch to the cops about what is going on in the Black Power movement over there in Britain. And it's very disappointing because once again we see a very blatant form of negative representation by a Black woman. During one of John Ridley's Q&As, he actually held a panel of some actresses, actors, and directors in Great Britain. John Ridley held a Q&A for the community in which the Black movement had occurred, and a lot of Black women basically came and said, why did you do this? Why isn't that person portrayed as a Black female? Because that's historically correct. And John Ridley basically said, oh, where did you hear that? Did you read it? How do you know? And the Black woman said, my family was a part of the movement, so therefore I have a very special connection to the story. So he basically got really emotional and decided to get defensive and bring up his wife and how she's, you know, Asian and she's a fighter and she's an activist. That's great. But at the same time, you're taking away a lot of shine from, you know, Black women and what our importance was in that movement. So if he were to cast a multitude of these beautiful Black British actors and actresses, he would have been more historically correct. Young Black women have struggled with self-esteem due to the lack of media exposure and due to the lack of, you know, support that we basically get. So it's important to portray all types of women in the media and not look over the fact that Black women are not portrayed enough and just basically rewrite history and do what you want. So that's basically what John Ridley did. The problem with that is Black women very often try and reach European standards by straightening their hair, bleaching their skin, and hearing that they're not good enough all the time. Okay, so that's a problem because they internalize that and they feel like, yeah, they're not good enough, which we are. We really are good enough, and you're beautiful. Yes, Black women are trying to bleach their skin on the daily, and it is not, it's not looking good for, you know, my daughter. If she comes out my color or darker or even lighter, I don't want her to feel like she needs to, you know, change the color of her skin because she feels she's not good enough. So yeah, the media is very irresponsible when it comes to self-love. That standard of beauty out there, and they show it by who they put in mainstream media. They show it by who they're casting in these historically important, you know, roles such as Guerrilla. Alright, so since we've gotten that out the way, let's get into French Montana. So French Montana is a rapper. Okay, I don't really know much about him. I actually have never heard any of his songs. I only know that he was dating Khloe Kardashian, which I don't really follow. I just, sometimes I look on the internet and I see these things. But he received a tweet, or he saw a tweet about himself, and this young lady said, oh, it's funny how people think, how French Montana thinks that people care about him. He took it very personal. He went in on this young girl, and she's actually very beautiful. He was calling her hair was nappy. He was saying that she's ugly. He was saying that she needs to go suck something from a male. Like, highly disrespectful. Don't even know if she's, you know, 18 or not, because she looks super young. And the girl's hair was not even nappy. It was actually like really beautiful. It was in, you know, the poetic justice braids, and he was just going in on her, and he basically showed himself as possibly being anti-Black. And so everybody on Twitter was going off on him, saying that, you know, how dare he do this, You know, once again, another portrayal of African American females being shined in a negative light. And so people are starting to understand, yeah, we definitely need to, you know, speak up against this, because you don't have a right to judge me. You don't have a right to judge me on my appearance, especially, you know, because you don't look like me. Your skin is different than mine. Your hair is different than mine. So how dare you say my skin and hair is less than yours, just because it's different. So that's a lot of people's concern, and it's also my concern. And so he basically went on and said that his mom is a black queen, and he is really, you know, he's not racist or anything, and his son is black, his former wife is black. That doesn't mean anything. To me, that doesn't mean anything, because it's what you say and what you do. It doesn't matter about what you've done in the past. If you're saying things that are anti-black, and you are, you know, shining black people in a negative light just because they have black features, I'm not with it. I'm not with it whatsoever. And anybody that's black shouldn't be with it either, because, you know, we have a long way to go as far as being properly represented. So when it comes to, you know, being portrayed in the media, and you're a marginalized, underrepresented community in, you know, the world and in society and in the media, then it's like you're continually, you know, marginalizing these people by, you know, putting them into a negative light when you say negative things about the way they look and the way, you know, they are. So I'm totally against that. No one should, you know, go for that. And it's time to understand that our black is beautiful. There's no such thing as too dark. There's no such thing as your hair is too nappy. Okay? No. I love it. I love my black. My black is beautiful. And as soon as we start standing up against that, people will understand that we're not going to stand for it. So let's not stand for it. Speak up against it and start representing ourselves. Okay? We have to start representing ourselves. So once again, please give this video a thumbs up. Alright, leave a comment below and make sure you press that little bell so you can get notifications on my next update. Thank you so much for watching, and Apple Afro out.